This is Into the Story, the podcast where you learn English with true stories from all over the world. Stories that connect us and inspire you to get where you want to go. Hello, it is your host, Bree. Welcome to this conversation episode of Into the Story, where I take you behind the scenes of my interviews with the storytellers. I ask them questions about their lives that help us understand who they are and how they communicate. Today, I am sharing my conversation with Andrea Aesie, who also happens to be one of my sisters. If you missed last week's episode, now or never, Andrea is a master scuba instructor. And as you'll hear, she has some different ideas about how to communicate clearly, especially when it's very difficult. She'll also talk about something called the cold plunge. You may or may not have heard of this. It's very popular right now. And also how she starts her day. Before we get to today's conversation with Andrea, I want to share a practice with you that I think you're going to enjoy. So you know me as the host of this podcast, and what a lot of you also know is that I am a communication coach, and I work with professionals to speak English confidently under pressure, situations like leading a meeting or giving a presentation. So let me give you an example of a client, Anna. Anna is a sales manager at a major international company, and in our first session, she tells me, I have to lead sessions in English, but I have no time to study. So today I'm sharing my number one coaching exercise that I like to start with, and it's called Real Practice, REAL, a simple practical method that can actually change how you sound when you speak English, and you can do this completely on your own. The first is R, record yourself. Go to Google or ChatGPT and ask for 10 conversation questions. I like deep conversation questions because you tend to talk about things that you normally don't speak about. So get 10 conversation questions, set up your phone, and hit record. You can do audio, but I recommend also doing video. Next, speak freely, completely spontaneously. Do not hold back. You want to speak for about 15 to 20 minutes. Next, take your recording and transcribe it with an AI tool. You can try Otter or Nata. Next, E, examine your grammar. Put your transcript into ChatGPT and ask, what are the top 5 grammar mistakes that I'm making? Then I want you to practice these grammar mistakes out loud. You can even ask ChatGPT, give me exercises to practice these grammar mistakes. The next is you want to always be talking, even if it's to yourself. I used to do this in my car. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. Of course, if you have a speaking partner, that's incredible. But the key is that you are talking. You can also record short clips each week or whenever you think of it to track your progress, to see how you're doing. And the final one is L, lighten up. I want you to exaggerate your pronunciation when you're practicing. One really fun exercise is to shadow voices that you enjoy. So if you listen to a podcast that you love, then shadow that person's voice. Imitate the way they sound. You can do this even using the transcription. First, you listen, and then you go back and read the transcription. You are imitating, shadowing their voice, and doing it in a very exaggerated way, moving your mouth a lot. Then I want you to be playing with the tone and rhythm. Try saying different things in different ways. For example, I can't believe it, really excited, and then surprised, and then annoyed. And most importantly, you have to enjoy this process. You can laugh at yourself, laugh at your mistakes. They make you grow. So just 30 minutes of this real speaking practice is enough to make a real difference, and you do not need to be perfect. A lot of us try to be perfect, and we're afraid when we're not, But all you need to do here is just get started. So if you are ready to grow as a speaker and to finally start speaking with more clarity and confidence, then you can sign up for my free newsletter to get simple, practical tools like this to speak with more impact. Go to intothestorypodcast.com to sign up. Okay, now let's get into my conversation with Andrea. Andrea, in your story, you talk about that in your life you've had a lot of adventures. And as your sister, I can say that that is true, definitely. You are now a master scuba instructor. So tell us what that means.
I'm able to teach people open water, rescue, advanced, and the only reason there's a master there is because I have specialties. On top of the instructor. So I have specialties in deep diving, wreck diving, navigation.
So when I think about communication, about having to talk with people, there's lots of situations that can be difficult when there's maybe a language barrier or there's a lot of noise or a lot of stress or you can't hear each other. But probably the most difficult place to communicate with other people is underwater. So how do you do that? How do you prepare for that? What do you do when you're underwater and there's a situation?
That is a very good question. And in scuba diving especially, you start by preparing before you go in. So you have like a briefing. I'm going to brief on what we're going to be doing. And there's signals. There's hand signals we use. Okay. Let's do that again. So there's all kinds of signals. Stop is a pretty good one that a lot of people know. So we go through a briefing and what we're going to do, and then underwater, it's kind of hard to understand unless you've done it, but we as instructors often laugh that it's actually easier to communicate underwater. It doesn't matter the language. It doesn't matter the accent. It doesn't matter that the airplane flew by and you didn't hear, because it's simple. So we communicate with our hands, and it's actually a lot easier. But we also have slates underwater that you can actually write on with a pencil. In case someone's really not understanding, you can use your slate.
Okay. Interesting.
But hand signals, yeah, it is very interesting how much easier it is to communicate when you only have a couple hand signals.
Yeah, and when you can only communicate the most important thing, right?
Yes.
Like it's only like the need to know information in that moment.
Exactly. It's a great question. Exactly. It just keeps it simple. Like, have you been to another country where you're looking for the restroom? What do you do?
Yeah.
You kind of bend down.
You keep it simple. You keep it very, very simple.
Exactly.
What is one thing that you do every morning to start your day? I think I know the answer to this because I'm your sister, but I think I know. Tell me.
To start my day, I keep one moment for myself. It sounds cheesy, but it's a little bit, call it a prayer, if you will. Call it my day intentions, whatever you will. One moment to myself. Keep it all calm before the busyness comes in. But right after that, I go for a cold plunge.
I knew you were going to say that. The cold plunge.
What you thought? Yep, the cold plunge.
What are the benefits of the cold plunge?
Well, there's many different benefits, but...
Explain what the cold plunge is. Maybe people don't know.
Oh, that's right. You might not know what a cold plunge is. So it's becoming extremely popular. The cold plunge is any form of cold water. Some people actually do it in the shower. I find it harder to do in the shower. But a cold plunge is I have a large bin on my outside on my porch, and it's filled with hose water, tap water, essentially. So because what month are we in? It's still March. It's quite cold. So it's really close to freezing. I've had to actually break a little bit of ice off the top before I get in.
Oh my God.
You cold plunge, you submerge your whole body up to your neck, and you just try to stay there as long as you can. It's such a wonderful feeling. It turns your body into, I've heard it described as like the fight or flight, like when your body goes into that fight mode where all the blood goes to your organs and your mind becomes incredibly clear. And there's so many health benefits with it. It just reactivates your body and your mind. It makes everything clear. Have you ever done anything that made you that brought you adrenaline?
Yeah, exactly.
And then right after, don't you have so much energy?
You feel good. Definitely like endorphins probably.
Yes, that's what it
And
is.
I remember last summer while I was visiting Canada, going in a few of the lakes, which are basically like a cold plunge where, like you get in and you're breathing and you have a lot of clarity for sure.
And you
That's a good
scream.
one. Yeah.
And you scream and you laugh and you giggle and I don't want to do this. But when you come out, don't you just feel like
Invigorated, like alive.
Invigorate. Exactly.
Nice one.
Exactly. Great for your body and mind.
So 1 minute to yourself to have, say a little prayer or gratitude or your daily intentions, and then a cold plunge. That's a really great way to start a day.
It really is. It really is.
If I gave you you're in the United States. So if I gave you $5 and you could go to the corner store, what would you buy yourself?
I know exactly what I'll buy myself. It's going to be dill pickle spits.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Explain
Dill
what that
pickle
is.
Spits. Okay, so sunflower seeds.
Okay.
Sunflower seeds. Yep.
Why are they called spits?
I don't, well, you spit them for one, but I think it's actually a brand. It's S-P-I-T-Z. Do you say Z in the States?
I don't know. I'm not American. You're American. No. Z?
We're both
Z?
Canadian. I think we say Z in Canada. Anyway. So they're called spits and you spit them. So it's a seed. Sunflower seed comes from the flower, sunflowers. And they're flavored, they're flavored dill pickle. And they're just incredible. About a pack a day, yeah.
You eat a pack a day?
Yep, a bag. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't have a lot of vices. I don't like sweets, chocolate. So I tell my husband it could be worse. I just chew sunflower seeds. I eat a lot of sunflower seeds.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
If you are feeling a bit down, what is your go-to song that you put on that makes you feel like super motivated and super good? Do you have one of those?
My go-to song, Post Malone, Goodbye.
Can you sing it or hum it?
No, I can't.
Can you tell us the lyrics?
Would
we know it?
It sounds negative. It's not a negative song. You could just Google it, but it's something I snowboard to. It has a really good beat, and I enjoy snowboarding to it. So, and also running. So it makes me happy.
Cool.
Yeah.
What is one book or podcast that you're listening to right now that's really taught you something that's changed your perspective?
Well, Jordan Peterson.
Context. Who's that?
Jordan Peterson's podcast and most everything that he writes. He's a Canadian psychologist. Have you heard of him?
No.
Jordan Peterson. He's pretty fascinating with his health journey. He had to go on a carnivore diet because he was struggling. And he's a really good psychologist. He has really good advice, marriage advice, how to be the best you could be in a relationship for somebody. He's very down to earth.
So his podcast is called?
I would have to look up what his podcast is called.
I see here the Jordan B. Peterson podcast.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Okay. And now my last question. What is the worst advice you've ever been given?
Is to not say anything. Just don't say anything. Just pretend like nothing's going on.
When did you get that advice?
I've, well, the specific time advice,
Or
I'd
it's
have
been
to.
given to you a lot of times.
No, I've heard that many times. Whether it's in a job and something happened or is happening that isn't right, people saying, just don't say anything. That's more what I'm going with. Or if someone's been done wrong by like not standing up for them.
Okay. Amazing. All right. You have survived the rapid fire lightning round.
I like your rapid fire. I'm going to do that to you next time I talk to you.
I hope that you enjoyed this bonus conversation with Andrea. Remember to follow Into the Story so that you never miss a new episode. And if you've been thinking, I love this show, I would love to support it, and you haven't already rated and reviewed, then please do. It is an incredible way to support us. Okay, that's all for this bonus episode. I will be back next week with another incredible story. Until then, I hope that you have a great time, or at least a good story to tell.